Good evening, and welcome to the Town Council meeting of Monday, March 27th, 2023, here at 7:02 p.m. in the McKinnon Council Chambers. Relative to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, and for the benefit of the public, this meeting is being recorded by both video and audio methods. Item number 1 tonight is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 2, roll call.
Councillor Adams.
Present.
Councillor Daniel.
Present.
Councillor Dow.
Present.
Councillor Lazo.
Present.
Councillor Marchetti.
Present.
Councillor Montigny.
Present.
Councillor Rivas.
Present.
Councillor Ryan.
Present.
Councillor Steves.
Present.
9 members present.
We have 9 present. We have a quorum. Very good. Item number 3, consider and accept the Town Council meeting minutes of Monday, March 13th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Ryan, second by Councilor Steves. Any discussion? Councilor Steves.
A couple of things. First off, under the Citizens Forum, where Maureen talks about 61As, I just wanted to clarify that Rachel had also commented on the fact about them being due in October, and we actually, for clarification, they actually turned out to both be right. The one going to the state is due in June. The one going to her going to the assessor's office is due in October.
All set?
Also,
Okay.
item number 18, we had the agenda, the way it is phrased as the amendment is wrong. It was a one-stop for growth to assess the eligibility not for an urban agenda grant, but for a MassWorks grant to fund the sidewalks. That was a MassWorks grant, not an urban agenda grant. And there were a couple of cases where Councilor Rivas' name is spelled out. Specifically on votes on 28 and 29. Yeah. And that was it.
Did you get that, Sue?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Very well. All those in favor as amended? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 4, subcommittee reports. General Government, Councilor Steves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did have a meeting. Let's see, it was on the 20th. There are 2 items at the very end of our agenda on tonight's meeting, and we do not have one scheduled.
Very good. Thank you. Department of Public Works, Councilor Marchetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. We have a meeting scheduled for this Wednesday, 6 p.m. in the Veterans Room. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Education and Human Services, Councilor Montigny.
Thank you very much. I believe tomorrow the school committee is presenting their budget, or the receiver is to the school committee, so I'll be looking very soon after that to start scheduling a budget meeting for EHS. Thank you.
Very good. 4D, Planning and Development, Councilor Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, we did not have a meeting prior to this, and our next meeting is April 3rd.
Very good. Thank you. And item E, Protection of Persons and Property, Councilor Lazo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, we had a meeting on March 20th, 2023. It was on a Monday, and we have recommendations on agenda items 9 through 24.
Very good. Busy man. Okay. Item 5, Chairman's announcements. I have none for this evening. Item number 6, Town Manager's announcements. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few. We received an order for compliance from the U.S. EPA requiring us to submit the town's fiscal year MS4, Year 4 MS4 annual report covering the time period from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. We have to submit that by April 23rd. In addition, we're required to correct deficiencies in our Year 3 MS4 stormwater report and to complete dry weather screening of all MS4 outfalls and interconnections by June 30th. So I've retained Tigan Bond Services consultant is to assist us in this work based on the authorization for hiring consultants from the Town Council. The next item is that we had a pre-construction meeting. It was held on March 17th at the DPW with Ludlow Construction, the Water Department, and Tigan Bond to go over the West Street Road reconstruction project, which is scheduled to begin today. And then the last thing I have is we had a virtual pre-construction meeting on the South Street water main improvements and road reconstruction project. It was held on March 20th with Ludlow Construction, the Water Department, Tigan Bond, the DPW, and the work on that is scheduled to begin on April 3rd.
Very good, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Councilor Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Make a motion to suspend the rules. Move agenda item numbers 9 through 12 up before the presentations.
So,
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Adams, a second by Councilor Lazo to suspend the rules and move items 9, 10, 11, and 12 to the forefront. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Very good. We move to item number 9, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Jordan Witherspoon as a permanent full-time police sergeant, state ethics and good standing, effective immediately for an indefinite period.
So moved.
second.
Motion by Councilor Ryan, second by Councilor Lazo. Chief. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilor Lazo. for a
Recommendation of subcommittee was to confirm, unanimous.
Thank you, Councilor. Chief.
Good evening. Jordan's late for everything, so he's late tonight stepping up here. Just to explain the process a little bit, how we arrived here tonight. During PPP, I went into it. It took forever, but tonight I'll kind of give you the shorter version. We did an assessment center for Sergeant back in December of 2021. We signed an agreement with Civil Service to administer that test also back in December 21 and then in March of 22. We made a promotion in June of 22 by this council. Sergeant Jenkos was promoted. So now we have 3 eligible candidates on our current civil service list. What happens is Civil Service lets lists go for 2 years so cities and towns don't get stuck with the cost. They're about between 6,000 and 6,500. So this list is still eligible. We're well within our law and the regulations to make these promotions. The first candidate tonight is number 1 on the current list. The second candidate is number 2. We're not bypassing anybody. Essentially tonight, these are the next 2 on deck to be promoted. The reason why we're doing it this way. 2 lieutenant positions were approved in February by this council. I plan on making acting lieutenants probably by tomorrow morning, but I wanted to get these sergeants confirmed tonight by town council. And basically I wanted a structure in place before we made any changes permanently. The process for the lieutenant positions will take a few months, but with everything that we have going on at the police department as far as the administration, we needed to do acting positions now. The gentlemen that are here tonight, as well as the lieutenants, are budgeted existing positions. We're going to stay at 39 full-time officers. We're just changing the rank structure due to all the needs in our department and the changes in 2023 and beyond. This is only about changing assignments and getting better use of all of our time. Again, I'm only moving forward because I wanted a structure in place, a firm structure, before we make lieutenants and sergeants and everything else, but tonight it starts here. So now we have the 2 candidates. If there's any questions, I'll take them before I get into the candidates.
Councilor Marchetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. I did have a chance to review the February 27th meeting and this has to do with your proposal to reorganize the department, correct?
I'm sorry, Council, can you repeat that? I couldn't hear you.
This has to do with reorganizing the department?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I did have a chance to review it, and I listened to what you were saying, and then I looked at the reorganization, and then it began to become more clearer to me that I didn't really see that much of a change in the reorganization, except that you want to replace some officers that left and went to Charlton. You want to appoint a new lieutenant. So that's really what this is about, is just replacing some that have left. You're probably going to, I presume you're going to probably need 1 more sergeant somewhere along the line, because you did have 1 that left, and then you're appointing 2 to lieutenant, correct? So at some point, you're going to have another one?
No, through you, Mr. Chair, at this point, if this is approved tonight, we would still have 6 sergeants, and now we'd have 2 lieutenants and a deputy chief. I wouldn't be coming forward for a 7th sergeant, no.
Okay. I looked on the website, I thought you only had 5 sergeants, but you have 6?
Yes, we
Okay.
will if this is approved tonight, yes.
All right. So then my other question is, where does this fit into the salary schedule? Because I know that the first candidate, he's a detective with an associate's degree. And when I looked at our budget, all the other sergeants all have bachelor's degrees. So where would he fit into this schedule?
If it's approved tonight with an associate's degree, his rate would go up, but we lost 2 senior people. One of the senior people had a master's degree, so he was getting 25% on top of a maximum lieutenant rate. So it's actually going to offset the cost and will actually be a little bit less, because the cost for a senior person is obviously much more money than a junior sergeant.
So when I looked at the union contract, you had step 2. Is that where he's going to be starting, at step 2?
Counselor, the reason why he would start at step 2 is because if we started him at step 1, he'd be making less money
Right.
as a sergeant than he would be
No.
as a detective. So we have to
Okay.
start him up 1 step.
All right, that was really my only questions about it. I know at the meeting, there was some questions about whether or not I trust you. It really has anything to do with trust. I have questions to ask about it, that's all. And
Understood.
it's always good to trust but verify, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Very good. Okay, Chief, please proceed.
I could speak to the candidate if I could, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
So the candidate tonight in front of us is Detective Witherspoon, hopefully soon to be sergeant. He's a Southbridge kid. He started here with the Cops and Kids program when he was in high school. He became a staff member. He did that job for our Cops and Kids program for about 10 different summers. He became an auxiliary. He worked 4 years with us as an auxiliary. He worked as a campus police officer. He's been a full-time police officer with us for about 8 years. About 2.5 years ago, he got promoted to detective because of his outstanding work. He went through the sergeant's process several different times. He was a young officer at the time, but he still did it. He went through the process. He wanted to be in the process. He wants to move up. That's great for the department. That's a great sign. He improved each time through the process, which is why he's here tonight. He's got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. That I highly recommend him for the appointment to sergeant.
Very good. Councilors? Very good. There being no discussion, all those in favor of the appointment? Anyone opposed? Unanimous of all present. Congratulations, Mr. Witherspoon. Very good. Item number 10, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Caton Neal as a permanent full-time police sergeant, state ethics in good standing, effective immediately for an indefinite
moved.
period.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
The recommendation from Protection of Personal Property were unanimous for confirmation.
Very good. Chief?
Through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Neal has had family that's lived in this community for 20 years. He lived in this community. He went to school in this community. He's worked with our police department for just about 6 years. He's got an associate's degree, hopefully a bachelor's by the end of this year. He's got 17 years in the military. About 4 years ago, he was promoted to sergeant in the military. He's our firearms instructor, or one of our firearms instructor. He's one of our field training officers. He went through the process also last year for sergeant. He went through the process for detective the year before that. He needed some experience. He was a little bit young. He's done everything we've asked him to do. It's great to see people want to move up. I highly recommend him for promotion to sergeant.
Very good. Councilors. Councilor Montigny.
Thank you. I just wanted to say for both of these candidates, and I appreciate every person that works for the town of Southbridge, but I always sit up here and talk about how there's something important about local candidates and just how much more they care about this town. I mean, you've got one gentleman who went through cops and kids here and now is a sergeant. You've got another person with military leadership experience, born, or basically both raised in Southbridge. I mean, I couldn't be happier tonight to see both these gentlemen go through as sergeants. Thank you.
Very good. Any other councilors? Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Congratulations, Sergeant Will.
That's a new shirt, Council, that's why it didn't stick in there. Okay, I'm sorry, Jordan.
Here to raise your right hand, sir. Do you, Jordan Witherspoon, solemnly swear to perform all duties incumbent of you as a police sergeant for the town of Southbridge for an indefinite period of time, faithfully and impartially according to the laws of the Commonwealth, and abide by the charter and bylaws of the town of Southbridge? So help you God. I just need you to say. I just have to give you the open meeting law and the conflict of interest. So if you would just sign your name right there, please. They're all this stuff. Thank you. Congratulations to you, Joy. Solemnly swear to perform all duties incumbent of you as a police sergeant for the town of Southbridge for an indefinite period of time, faithfully and impartially according to the laws of the Commonwealth, and abide by the charter and bylaws of the town of Southbridge. So help you God. I do. Thank you. And I also have to give you the open meeting law and the conflict of interest, so if you would just sign right there. Congratulations to you. Thank you.
Agenda item number 11, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Hector Melendez as a permanent full-time police officer for the town of Southbridge, effective immediately upon successful completion of all medical and physical testing as required by Human Resources Civil Service and State Ethics and Good Standing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
The recommendation was unanimous to confirm the appointment.
Very good. Chief?
Through you again, Mr. Chair, these are all, just so you know, the two positions coming up are budgeting and existing positions. Mr. Melendez is on our current civil service list. He was a Southbridge kid. He was born and raised here. He went to Bay Path. Currently a full-time police officer in another community. He's went through our hiring process a couple different times. He just needed some more training, some more experience. He stuck with it, and I'm proud of him for that. He took the time to train himself. He went to an academy on his own dime, his own time. I always say that. He's bilingual. He was an auxiliary police officer with our department, and while he was here working as an auxiliary, I would say he volunteered hundreds of hours, and that's being, generous. It could probably go much higher than that. He worked at our hospital. I highly recommend him. He can start almost immediately. He just has to give some notice to his other job. He has to take one other procedural test for us. So I highly recommend him for the appointment to police officer.
Very good. Councilors? Very well. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Congratulations, Allison Melendez. Item number 12, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Cruz DeRoja as a permanent full-time police officer for the town of Southbridge, effective immediately upon successful completion of all medical and physical testing as required by Human Resources Civil Service, graduation from the police academy, and state ethics training.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Ryan, second by Councilor Lazo. Councilor Lazo.
The motion was, at subcommittee, was unanimous to confirm the appointment.
Very good. Chief?
Through you again, Mr. Chair. On our current civil service list, Mr. DeRoja sits, I believe he's first now. He's a resident of Southbridge now. He was a resident when he took the test. He grew up in Malden. He works as a security officer. He's a football and lacrosse coach. He's got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And if approved tonight, he would be going to an April academy with the two candidates that we appointed way back in November of 2022, but the next available academy is not for a few weeks. So they've been sitting idly since November, and now the three of them will be going together to the Boylston Police Academy if approved. And I highly recommend them for the position, police officer.
Very good. Councilors? Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Congratulations, Officer DeRosa.
Now we're going back to the 9. I don't know why we didn't do this.
Okay, we go back to item number 7, presentations. The first item this evening under presentations is David Detmold and Liz Coldwind Santana Kaiser about changing the state seal.
Mr. Chairman, I have a hard time hearing, so
Yeah, can we have time for people to clear out, Mr. Chairman?
Want to recess?
Recess
5 minutes.
All right, we'll have a 5-minute recess. Okay, I call this meeting back to order. Once again, we're in the presentation stage at item number 7. The first presentation this evening is sponsored by Councilor Rivas. It's by David Detmold about changing the state seal.
Thank you very much, Council Chair and members of the Town Council of Southbridge. Thank you for giving me just a moment or two of your time tonight to speak on what is a very important issue. And we are actually at a juncture now where the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, for the first time in 140 years, is undertaking a process of review of its state seal on which the state flag is based. And this has been a long time coming. If we could perhaps take a look at the flag tonight together, just to look at what is objectionable to the indigenous people of the area that we now call the Commonwealth. And of course, in Southbridge, we are right in the heart of Nipmuc territory, and Southbridge is home to members of the Nipmuc Chabanagungama Band and council members. So this is a matter that has been of grave importance to indigenous people in the Commonwealth for decades. Since 1985, this has been in front of the state legislature. And for 32 years, a bill was pending and stymied, I would say, or sidelined in the legislature to set up a special commission to invite indigenous leaders of the Commonwealth to sit with state legislators and look at the flag and seal, which, as you can see, features a white hand holding a sword above the image of an indigenous person and a Latin phrase underneath that says, "She seeks a quiet peace under the sword," and peace under liberty. And there are other features, elements of this seal that are of great offense to indigenous people, in that the image includes the facial features of a native chief from the Chippewa tribe of Montana, not from Mississippi, not from Massachusetts. The bow was taken from an indigenous person shot by a settler named William Goodnow in the town of Winthrop. In the town of Sudbury in 1665. The belt was modeled after the belt that was supposed to be worn by Metacomet, or the English called him King Philip. But most especially the sword itself, by the direction of then Secretary of State William Olin in 1885, the illustrator Edmund Garrett copied that sword from the sword kept in the Pilgrim Hall in Plymouth, known to be the sword of Miles Standish, and known to have been used against indigenous people. And so all of these elements put together, indigenous people have said this in public to the legislature for many, many years, that this is an image of violence and an accurate history of the genocide that occurred here. And, you know, in third grade, as part of the core curriculum, we teach our social studies students to study the state symbols of the Commonwealth. Could we not now do better going forward and come up with a symbol of harmony for all the people who share the Commonwealth today? The eye of the Commonwealth, Southbridge, Mass. And the eye of the Commonwealth will be upon the council as they deliberate this matter. There have now been 57 cities and towns that have voted in favor of this resolution to change the flag and seal. And that includes the town nearby of Southbridge last June, with the support of the annual town meeting voters there. And many more towns are about to take this vote, but tonight we're bringing it here to you and to your consideration. And if there are any questions that I could answer, please direct them to me. And I once again want to thank you. The legislature, after stalling this for 32 years, finally, and with Governor Baker's support, former Governor Baker's support, set up a special commission to recommend changes to this. 6 indigenous leaders were appointed to sit on that 19-member panel. They came back with a unanimous finding that this symbol is causing harm today, and it needs to be totally revised. So that is where we are at the moment, and thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Very good. Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to Mr. Detmel. First, thank you for coming tonight and providing us with this information. The only I have a follow-up on your last statement about the commission created by Governor Baker. Mm-hmm. I don't think that, if I'm understanding correctly, I don't think they've come up with a replacement seal yet, correct? And now we have a new governor.
Yes,
so
right.
Is the new governor taking steps to continue the work of this commission?
We have not heard yet from Maura Healy as to her position on the commission. The commission was granted funding just at the end of the last legislative session to conduct public polling and to commission artwork, but they were not granted a time extension, and their deadline ran out in December of last year. And right now, there's a rider on the supplemental budget that is moving through the legislature that would allow them to have until the middle of November of this year to complete their work. And yet, you know, it's tremendously important that that the legislators who represent the city of Southbridge hear from you on this, so that they can feel that this is of importance to their constituent cities and towns, and make this happen. It's been delayed for far too long.
I agree, Mr. Detmel. I think it's incumbent upon all of us, if we care about this, to make sure we contact the governor's office and our legislative leadership to make sure that this gets continued. I remember sitting in high school having this very debate, and I was on the side of changing the flag. So I'm really excited to see that this work is getting done, because this has been a repressive image for too long. And our Commonwealth is one that prides itself in its diversity and its steps towards equity and equality. So the fact that this symbol continues to be on our flag is frankly saddening. So I thank you for your work, and I look forward to doing more work to help make sure that this change happens. Thank you.
Councilor Lazo.
Just a couple comments. Jackie, you went to Tantasco, right?
Yes.
That would be the Warriors?
I disagree with that, too.
I played for the Pioneers. It's an interesting issue. It's an issue it's a hot topic. I really would like to know, is there a cost? What would it cost the state to change it?
Well, I think nobody is recommending that we remove the stained glass imagery from the rotunda of the State House. Nobody's suggesting that we take down the brass abutments on every bridge in the Commonwealth. Nobody is suggesting that, that those types of historical documents, if you will, be removed. They'll be part of the historical record. But flags wear out, flags get reprinted, stationery is printed for the bureaucracy, for the legislature every year. And I think that's a routine cost of doing business if you are a state government. And there will be a cost, but that should not prevent the the Commonwealth of Massachusetts of removing a symbol that is, in many people's eyes, a symbol of violence. Let's just put it that
No,
way.
and, Mr. Chairman, and I understand that, and I understand it 110%. My thing is I would love to put this on the ballot on the upcoming election. Council can vote it on and put it on it. Let the people vote. The only reason why I was asking you the financial end of it was, in this town, the minute you do something, they say, well, when you drive into the state, all the state, is that going to be changed? Is that? So, I mean, just having the answers for the citizens to say, this is what we want to do, this is what's going to happen. But for myself, Mr. Chairman, I mean, I would love to put this on the ballot in June, and we have time to do it. Let the people decide.
If the city of Southbridge votes to approve this resolution, there is no cost attached for the citizens of Southbridge to simply state a position that they believe a more harmonious symbol could be created. And the legislature is in the midst of this deliberation for the first time in 140 years. So if the legislature in its wisdom makes this decision without Southbridge's input, I think that's a disservice to the citizens of Southbridge too. So a referendum is a possibility, but you're the elected representatives, and the issue is before you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Thank you, Council Lazo. Councilor Rivas.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Detmold, for bringing this forward. I think it is really important for us to think about our citizens who are Indigenous people, and who live and work and go to school in our community, especially our students, having to learn and look at something that is harmful to their community and a reminder of the harm that was caused. I know that if this was a symbol that was harmful to our Puerto Rican community, people would be, on the stairs protesting, having this symbol on our state flag. And I think that it is our responsibility to be the voice of community members that don't have a voice and are not represented. And I don't necessarily think that it needs to go to be a question on the ballot. I think that I'm hoping that maybe we can bring it up at Gen Gov and talk about how we might address it as a council, as many other communities who have our similar form of government have done. But I do think it needs to be addressed. Thank you.
What's that? Very good. Council Lazo.
Well, I would just like to say thank you very much for spurring the discussion. I think it's a worthy discussion. I'm a big fan of democracy, and I think there's only one pure democracy. It's a town meeting or a ballot. And this representative form of government's a little different, but I still think that I commend you on bringing this forward with the councilor, and well, I'm sure there'll be further discussion. But the loudest voice is that ballot, and I really like that idea. Thank you very much for being here.
Very good. Anyone else? Councilman Tigney.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd be in support of supporting this as a council, but also, I mean, there's just 9 of us. There could be 900 or 1,900 people out there, and it would just be such a greater show of support if the council and the people all wanted to change this. We could all do it together. I just think it would be great if we could do both. Thank you.
Anyone else? Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very good. Under presentations, item B, we have tonight Mr. Darius Penaz of the Zeiss Group regarding American Optical's Lensometer celebration and the Optical Heritage Museum on 12 Crane Street in Southbridge.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I'm just here to talk about a little bit about our presentation, our event that we held on Saturday at the Optical Heritage Museum. It was to celebrate the American Optical Lensometer of 1921, which actually received landmark recognition status from the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, ASME. So first things before we get in, who am I? Well, first, g'day. Going all right? Tough crowd. Anyway, so look.
Tough crowd going on right now.
I'm from Australia, so I don't understand anything that's going on, but I'm here, and it's great. So Australia, from Adelaide specifically, it's quite far away. Clearly, there's a little helpful map for everyone. From the land of Vegemite sandwiches and cute and cuddly wildlife, some of which I'd love to show you. So, anything that can kill you will kill you in Australia. It's a marvellous, fun, happy place. These are just some of my neighbours, including spiders and sharks and crocodiles and snakes, and it's lots of fun. But clearly, I'm here. Okay, so I haven't encountered any of these things. I'm actually from a place called Adelaide, so there's lots of things to do in Adelaide, including world-class wineries only 50 minutes north, world-class wineries 30 minutes east, world-class wineries only 40 minutes south, and then if you fancy the beach, it's only 15 minutes drive from the CBD. So there's lots of variety when you visit Adelaide. So look, that's enough about me, but what am I doing here? That's the question, really. And that's a great question. So like I said before, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, they've honoured this Wordsworth 1921 lensometer as this landmark dedication ceremony. So we decided to really make a show of it, and as a member of Zeiss, as Carl Zeiss, and as a representative of the Optical Heritage Museum, I was tasked to manage this event and to put this event on in the Southbridge community. So we actually ended up having some worldwide attendance at this event. This event hosted on Saturday just here at 12 Crane Street in Southbridge. And we also had both local media as well as some optical media covering the event as well. So we decided to put on a bit of a night at the museum dinner with this big immersion experience to really celebrate the achievements of this device. So the whole event was hosted by the Optical Heritage Museum, and it was a great opportunity to showcase some new exhibits as well as bringing the engineering community, the Southbridge community and the optical community all together in one to showcase what we can offer going forward. So for anyone who's not aware, because certainly I wasn't, what a landmark recognition actually is, and it's actually granted to artefacts that represent a significant step forward in the evolution of mechanical engineering. And since the History and Heritage Committee of the ASME was founded in 1971, there's been 279 artefacts across the world that have received these landmark recognitions. And these, sometimes they're sites, they're particular moments of, moments of importance for mechanical engineering. So our AO lensometer actually sits with the Hubble Space Telescope, for example, or the Saturn V rocket, or the steam engine, or printing press, things that have really changed our world significantly, and they've honoured the lensometer in doing that, which is actually quite marvellous. So based on its attributes and how it's a role in evolving the mechanical engineering profession and how it has benefited society in general. It's ticked off all of those boxes, and the ASME created a plaque for us to display alongside the lensometer as a big show of faith, and now it's inducted in their Hall of Fame as well, which is quite a monumental achievement for us. So the things that we actually did to celebrate this was we had a seated buffet dinner, which was hosted by the head chef Michael Johnson from the Stonewall Grill out in Fiskdale. So food was exceptional. I recommend everyone eat there all the time. So we invited our guests to explore the museum at night. We had everything lit up and this really immersive feel, so you could hear the story of how the lensometer has evolved from the 1921 model into the current models you see today. And so we were able to tell this story of the evolution in amongst all of the other amazing achievements that this thing has helped to create. So what I'd like to say very quickly as well with this device, so I can see some heads shaking and so a few concerned looks. A lensometer is a particular device. What is it, are you asking? That's a great question because, to be honest, I didn't really know either. But it's a device that essentially allows you to check a lens prescription very easily. So before that, simply up to 1915, I think, up until that point, people were using a trial and error method, which is clearly long and cumbersome, and it's not accurate. And so this device was created, which actually allowed people to get correct prescriptions quickly and easily and accurately. And not only that, but it could be a device which was mass manufactured and cheap to do so. So suddenly, the entire optical world had a device that could completely revolutionize the way that lenses were dispensed and the way that more technical designs could be created to help people see and to help solve vision problems. So this thing really is a landmark we can all see today through glasses. It can improve our vision. This is the moment in time where that was made possible. And so because of that was such a monumental event or experience, and we really got that recognition from ASME, that's why we did such a big showing of it. So this exhibit that we've got is actually going to be still open to the public, although unfortunately our light show has been packed away because we don't have I don't have the budget to keep it going all day long, but you're more than welcome to come out and see it and just really experience for yourself how it's changed. And in addition to that, we really tried to play on the lensometer allowed us to create all these other kinds of innovations in the optical industry. So we've created a brand new exhibit which showcases the history of American optical, the history of Zeiss, and the history of solar optical, which is often forgotten in this, in how they were all three absolute powerhouses in optical pioneering, all the way across through time. And interestingly, all three of those companies actually merged together and are now part of Zeiss, which is why I'm here for Zeiss, talking about the American optical lensometer. So that's another exhibit that's open, and we welcome everyone to come and see it. So as well as having that coverage from the local press, as well as having lots of optical industry coverage from nationwide, and a couple of very important and very keen supporters in Europe as well. So this event will get quite a bit of coverage globally, I think, and we expect and anticipate a number of people to come through as a result of that. But what I would like to do is to thank a number of people for making the event possible. So firstly is Gabriel McCarthy, who his team at Ugal Realty, I believe that's probably not how you pronounce it, but his team was amazing because from the Monday when I arrived to the Saturday when the event was put on, the entire building looked completely different to the point that I'd never seen it before in coming back to Southbridge for maybe 6 or 7 years. His team was amazing and really deserved credit. There's also Michael Johnson, I mentioned earlier, from Stonewall Grill, put on incredible food and I would recommend him to do anything. That light show was put on by Boston Event Lighting, fantastic to do with, very easy. I recommend it if you're looking for something of the same nature. Denise and Bob Clements came through as well, which really, really helped out. So Denise with sort of camera crew, and Bob just even put his hand up, worked behind the bar, little things like that that really made the event that extra bit special for us and for the community. And John Daniel and his presence as well, I'd like to thank him at the event itself, which was absolutely fantastic to really get the Southbridge community on board. And then finally, to really thank those Optical Heritage Museum volunteers, the team, the ASME, because without them, this wouldn't have happened and we wouldn't have had this extra coverage come through in the town. And for Zeiss themselves, because Zeiss have been in business for 175 years, and in that we've had a lot of innovations, but we also reference our, everything that has involved in our company, which includes the work of solar optical and includes the work of AO, which is why we're all here to celebrate. So that's a big thank you for those. And look, if you guys, this is the thing, it's a community-run museum as well. So Zeiss, we provide a bit of guidance with a bit of that corporate pull, but the museum is fundamentally a community thing. We enjoy it being here in the town of Southbridge. It's where all of the AO all founded. It belongs here. So if you know of anyone who wants to come through and volunteer, please, reach out. If you have any ideas on how it can be improved, please reach out. We're interested in hearing from the community. And so you can always interact with our social posts. You visit opticalheritagemuseum.com, email info@opticalheritagemuseum. It's all up there on our websites. Just invite anyone who wants to have a say, more than welcome to do so. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Does anyone have any questions? Councilor Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not on the lensometer or anything like that, but I just want to say, as a person that got to travel and see Rockhampton up in Australia and a few other places and trained up there, you have an absolutely beautiful country. And I'm going to tell you that the fact that you guys flew all the way over here and you guys had those things, it's pretty amazing. So thank you for your time and efforts.
No problems at all. It's a pleasure to be here. This is a really fascinating, amazing part of the world. And I was thinking about it before that I probably wouldn't have come to a place like this if I chose to holiday purely because of location, because I have to jump on a plane to Sydney to then come across to maybe LA, to then come across on another flight across this part of the world as well. So logistically, it's probably not going to happen. The fact I get to come here through work is utterly incredible, and I really take it for granted. So thank you for having me.
Councilor
Thank you.
Marchetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I did have a chance to go over the museum, and it's an incredible museum. I wish he had more room over there. He's got so much to look at. He could probably take that entire building and make it into a museum. So it is a great place to visit. I recommend everybody who hasn't been there get a chance to go over there. I do have a question. Who invented the lensometer? Just out of curiosity.
I've got a man on site who will correct me, but I believe it was the work of a combination of work of Dr. Edgar Tillier and Dr. Estelle Glancy. So a man and woman team, which is also quite significant because back in maybe 1910 or so, the lensometer came about with about 10 years worth of calculations, and Estelle Glancy is the main reason that is the case. So our entire optical community really has a pioneering woman behind it all, which I think is incredibly important and should be recognised, and we're doing our work to recognise as well. So those two are the credited inventors. So I think you can say that Estelle Glancy it was a pretty good teamwork because Estelle Glancy did all of the calculations and Dr. Tillier did most of the smoking with the cigarettes. So I think it was a good team.
All right, thank you very much.
Any other councilors? Councilor Ryan.
Thank you. I want to thank you for your presentation. I want to thank Mr. Whitney for all his work and dedication to the American Optical Museum. I know that's something he's really cared about for a very long time. And as someone who's a direct beneficiary, having worn glasses all my life, it's nice to hear about the history and how did we get here. And this was awesome, and I appreciate the beginning. There's not a lot of humor in these meetings, so thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to the proclamation. All right, first I have a few words for the community regarding the event and what had happened. I was there. It was a wonderful event. The town of Southbridge received a lot of worldwide recognition, and I heard nothing but compliments about the town, the citizens of the town, the work that was being put forward. It was a top-notch event, #1, and Southbridge really put a good foot forward on Saturday night. Wonderful job, and Southbridge has every reason to be proud. So what I'd like to do is read the remarks that I mentioned on Saturday evening, and then I'll read the proclamation that was presented. I was pleased to be representing Saturday night the Southbridge Town Council and the citizens of the town of Southbridge. The American Optical Company and the optical industry in general have played a very significant part in the history of Southbridge. Those of us of a certain age either worked in the local factories or have family who have done so. Times may change, but our fondness for the AO has not. As a result, we the citizens of Southbridge continue to take great pride in the work that was produced here. Consequently, the Optical Heritage Museum, under the direction of Dick Whitney, has become an integral part of the community. Under his guidance and the great support of Zeiss Vision Care, the museum serves as a way for the community to say, here we are, we did this, allowing us to pass on knowledge of our good works to the next generations and those who have particular interests in the optical industry. As a representative for the citizens of Southbridge, I thank the American Society of Mechanical Engineers for their honor, adding to our legacy and leaving us with a bit more pride. We are truly grateful. I especially want to thank Zeiss Vision Care for their continuing the legacy of producing exceptional vision products that began here in Southbridge at the AO, and also for their tremendous support of the Optical Heritage Museum. By doing so, you allow us to stand a bit taller. I can't say enough about the museum, and if people don't know where it is, it's at 12 Crane Street, and I'll say that again, 12 Crane Street, the Optical Heritage Museum, managed by Dick Whitney. It's really worth looking at, and there are some other exhibits there as well that aren't directly related to optics, but are related to the AO, the citizens of town, and events that have happened in town. There's a wonderful exhibit on the 55 flood and how it affected the town, and it's quite eerie. There's an audio recording of the WESO radio broadcast regarding the flood in 55. I believe that's still going. You got it. And just remarkable, absolutely remarkable. We really have a gem in our midst here. I can't say enough about trying to get citizens in town to go there, to see it, to support it, and tell your friends that live out of town to come into town to see it. It is well worthwhile. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the 1921 American Optical Wellsworth lensometer is a groundbreaking device that completely revolutionized the optical industry. Whereas the device was invented at the American Optical Company in Southbridge. Whereas the lensometer is a significant step forward in the evolution of mechanical engineering. Whereas the lensometer completely revolutionized the optical industry, paving the way for advanced lens designs and measuring equipment. Whereas the American Society of Mechanical Engineers is honoring this device with its prestigious landmark status, an honor awarded to only 250 devices of various sorts in over 50 years. Whereas the American Optical Company heritage continues today with Zeiss Vision Care after the eyeglass units of Zeiss and AO Solar Optical were merged in 2005. Whereas the Optical Heritage Museum is an important and integral part of the town of Southbridge and at which the oldest working lensometer is located. And whereas Zeiss Vision Care also provides tremendous support to the Optical Heritage Museum located here in Southbridge. Now, therefore, the Southbridge Town Council hereby proclaims Saturday, March 25th, 2023 as American Optical Wellsworth Lensometer Day, and joins with the grateful citizens of Southbridge in thanking the American Society of Mechanical Engineers for this prestigious recognition. Further, my best wishes and continued success are offered to the American Society of Mechanical Engineers and to Zeiss Vision Care for their important support of the Optical Heritage Museum and Southbridge's legacy, given this 25th day of March 2023 by John L. Daniel, Chairperson of the Southbridge Town Council. Larry? Dick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just Mr. Whitney, I wanted to thank him for all of his years of dedication to the museum and the town and the history of this town. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. You're hiding behind the laptop, I don't know where, but I just want to thank you personally for all the hard work. Great conversations. Thank you.
Anything further, councilors? Council Lazo.
Just a quick minute. Again, Dick Whitney, thank you very much. I've always looked at you as Mr. AO. Since I've been in the 39 years of politics, Dick Whitney's always been here. He's been here before I was here, and he continuously does not want to let go of the history of Southbridge, mainly the AO, and I really respect that. Being a Southbridge guy, you gotta love it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Very good. On to the fun stuff. Item D, a budget presentation this evening by the town manager, Charles Blanchard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with the provisions of the Massachusetts General Laws and the Town of Southbridge Home Rule Charter, I'm pleased to present the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget for your consideration. We're facing a very significant increase in our minimum required net school spending. This year it'll go up to $840,000, which is about $500,000 more than it was last year. We also are facing an 8.5% increase in health insurance costs and a 5% increase in our retirement assessment, which will add quite a bit to the budget. The proposed FY24 operating budget in the book that I presented this evening totals $69 million and would require an increase in the property tax levy under the provisions of Proposition 2.5 up to the maximum levy limit. If the budget increase was to be limited to applying the limits of Proposition 2.5 to the FY 2023 tax levy, we would need to cut in the order of $1.5 million from the proposed budget. I'm hoping that during the budget review process by the Town Council subcommittees, a consensus will be reached for an acceptable tax increase between the two scenarios I described that will meet the goals and the policies of the Town Council and allow the town to continue on the path of progress that it's currently on. So I look forward to working with the Town Council to review this and get a budget that can be acceptable to the town.
Okay.
If you have any questions.
Okay, councilors. Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. I'm reviewing the budget book that was provided to us. That increase is not reflected into the actual voting documents.
Well,
The school increase you just mentioned. So I just wanted to know,
well,
you mentioned a $1.2, $1.3 million increase. Do you know roughly how much of you said it's above 2.5%. Do you know roughly the percent increase that would be offhand?
in our minimum requirement, required contribution last year was $339,000, and this year it's $840,000. We did get an increase in Chapter 70 local aid as well, but then there was also a reduction, I believe, in the Student Opportunity Act. And again, as Councilor Montigny mentioned, there is a hearing from this on the school budget tomorrow evening.
What about the other question on the total budget? You said we're looking at an increase. So you said it's above the 2.5%. So I just wanted to roughly know what the percentage was offhand.
Sure.
That you're proposing, Mr. Manager.
Sure. Okay. Well, the total budget expense increase would be 7.69%. Our total revenue increase that we have projected here is an increase of 5.18% over last year. And the budget as proposed, which is basically the budgets proposed by the department heads. We met with them, we reviewed each line item and so forth. And included in there is some of the changes that were, I believe, suggested. There was a discussion about moving, payroll into the HR department, so we have an additional position for that. And there's also a clerical position put into the assessor's office to set up a billing department, or at least increase our billing capability if we go on to billing either for the curbside trash collection or when we get into possibly billing for the stormwater requirements.
Counselor, you all set?
For now, yes.
Very good. Anyone else? Counselor Lazo and then Counselor Marquardt.
I'm not going to get into the budget. I just want to thank Charlie for presenting us the document to meet state law. There's plenty of work that's going to go into this. We're not going to reinvent the wheel tonight, but I just would like to say thank you to Charlie for putting the document together, meeting a date, and now council will go to supper and go to work. Thank you.
Counselor Marquardt, then Counselor Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Yep, I agree. I'm not going to go through the whole thing either. I just want to point out that we do have a capital stabilization account as well, and right now it's 1.5 million. I don't know. I didn't really see it in here. Maybe you're aware of it.
No, I certainly am. Unfortunately, I didn't include it in here because I didn't receive it. I believe the capital subcommittee committee hadn't met. And so the budget wasn't presented, but it will be added as soon as we get that in there.
Yeah, the reason we are due to meet, I think we just need one more meeting to finalize, because Ms. Harnoy's left, it kind of threw us back a little bit. But I talked to Adriana today, we're probably going to meet one more time, make our recommendations.
Yeah, I was hoping it might happen before we presented this, but we can certainly
Me as
have
well.
this
I
in
thought we
before
were
you
going to do
start
it today,
reviewing
but we'll get it done.
Right, great,
All right,
thank you.
Very good. Counselor Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to thank the town manager for stepping in at the very last minute and trying to figure out our numbers, which, like the other counselor said, I mean, it's going to be at the subcommittee, which is going to be a lot different than we're kind of used to every single year. Though it goes to the subcommittee, we make some small cuts here and there or add something here and there, but as far as you coming in at the last possible minute with the big changes, unprecedented changes that we had, and all dealings with everything else that's going on in the real world, I do appreciate that, and and your team as well, because I know they're rushing around even tonight.
They just finished it.
They just finished it right before I came over here. That tells you something about the character of our staff and our employees as well, trying to get things done properly. But obviously, this is a hand that we did not expect to happen, so I thank you. I do want to mention that it's interesting because I'm seeing some other towns around in our community with a possible 2.5 override like Dudley, which is almost $5 million. And I'm sure there's some other towns hurting, especially with this extra increase from that school spending that now we're required to have. So again, appreciate it. Look forward to these meetings. Thank you.
Councilman Tigney.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this looks great, especially my first time doing budget as a subcommittee chair. There's a few things in here that I see that I had wanted for health that it's in here. I have just two questions, a question and then maybe just a small correction. The cable budget, is it being funded by Spectrum offsetting bills, or are we finally dipping into tax dollars because of the fact that we don't have a franchise agreement?
No, we still have the offset in here.
Okay.
That we anticipate.
That's great.
That totally is offset.
That's awesome. And then the second thing here, I've been trying to go through it while you guys have been talking, and under the inspectors, you have listed here just a typo, sealer of weights and measures. It says it's Gil Provost, but it's actually Mike Como. So I just wanted to make sure that, because it even has some sort of employee ID number. So that's just got to...
In the detailed budget sheet?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have that. correct.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you.
Anyone else? Very good. I'd just like to echo Vice Chair Adams about his compliments to the town manager. Yeoman's work, considering the circumstances surrounding this. I'd like to compliment Christine, Abby, Hannah, and Gail for their work tonight, as Councilor Adams also mentioned. It takes a team to put it together. The council is a team. We're going to examine it, but we can't examine nothing. Something has to be produced. And Charlie's team, the town manager's team, really did a nice job putting it all together. So I'll echo and add my compliments to the work that he's done.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Ready to move on? Just get this out of the way. Okay, item number 8, Citizens Forum. Are there any citizens that would like to take the podium this evening to address the council on an issue not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 13. That's item number 13 we're moving on to. Vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Caitlin Jewell as Inspector of Animals in accordance with the provisions of Section 5, Chapter 129 of Mass General Laws, effective May 1, 2023 through April 30, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
The recommendation was unanimous for confirmation.
Chief?
Just a name change from Caitlin Spencer to Caitlin Jewell. It's all it is, the same ACO we've had for several years. Does an outstanding job.
Councilors? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 14, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Hector Arvello as a special traffic constable for a 3-year term effective immediately through June 30, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
The vote is unanimous for confirmation.
Any questions, councilors? Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. I will support these tonight, but I would like to see at some point that these traffic constable jobs at least be posted or something to make it available to all the residents of Southbridge. I'm sure there's some residents in Southbridge who could probably use the work. Thank you.
If I could, Mr. Chair,
Certainly,
that's not
Chief.
how it works, Council. You need a background in public safety. You cannot work in the streets. I will not allow you to work in the streets unless you have a public safety background.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, if I see somebody who's a crossing guard and I'm trusting him with the kids walking across the street, I certainly can trust him to take a test and learn how to be a public safety personnel. That's all. I mean, I'm happy to support this. We'd just like to see it opened up to residents in town who could use the work. Thank you.
Very good. Any other comments, questions? Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 15, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Kevin Arena as a special traffic constable for a 3-year term effective immediately through June 30, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Steves. Councilor Lazo.
The motion was unanimous to confirm the appointment.
Very good. Any comments, questions? All those I'm sorry?
If I could just speak
Chief?
to that quickly, so just so people in the public understand me or understand
Certainly.
what we're doing. Mr. Arvello and Mr. Arena both have 20-plus years in the corrections. Mr. Arvello was at the county level in Hampden County. Mr. Arena was at the state prison system. He also worked as an auxiliary for about 17 years for us. Both these gentlemen are outstanding candidates. They're actually very qualified. That's why I'm putting them forward tonight, these two.
Very good. Would you
Speak to each one.
Would you like to speak to the others as well? Would you like
If
that
I could,
opportunity?
all the candidates, one or two are actually court officers working in public safety. One is a highly trained, he worked at the summer super maximum security prison in Connecticut, did all their SWAT training, all the defensive tactics, very, very qualified man. Another one was an auxiliary with us for 7 years, currently a chaplain for the police department. Another one was a retired police chief, also worked at Massport as a police officer. So these aren't just people we're, picking out of a hat. These are just qualified individuals.
As they come up, I'll offer you the opportunity to address each individual candidate. Okay.
I didn't know what you wanted me to do, Mr. Chair.
Yeah,
I
no, that's fine.
apologize,
That's all right. Okay, any comments or questions on Kevin Arena? Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Okay, item 16, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Matthew Carpenter as a special traffic constable for a 3-year term effective immediately through June 30, 2026. Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Dow. Councilor Lazo.
Subcommittee voted unanimous on the confirmation.
Very good. Chief?
And again, I apologize if I could, Mr. Chair. Mr. Carpenter is currently a court officer in our district court, public safety background, highly recommended.
Very good. Council? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item 17, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Esteban Carrasco Jr. as a special traffic constable for a 3-year term effective immediately through June 30, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Dow. Councilor Lazo.
Motion was confirmed at subcommittee.
Chief?
Southbridge resident, lifelong, worked for our auxiliary department for about 7 years, completed the Reserve Intermittent Police Academy, he's bilingual, currently the chaplain for the police and fire departments in several communities, including ours, and I highly recommend them.
Very good. Councilor Ryan.
I just want a clarification from Councilor Lazo. Was it unanimous at the subcommittee? 'Cause
No, it wasn't.
Okay, what was the vote?
3-1.
Okay, thank you. And, could you just tell us what the reason was for opposition at the
Gave
subcommittee?
no reason.
You gave no reason? Okay, thank you.
Point of clarification, it was an abstention,
Oh,
I believe. It wasn't even a no, it was abstention.
Yeah.
that's right, it was an abstention, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
All right, so it's 301. Okay. Any further questions? Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous here of all present. Item number 18, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Jonathan Reish as a special traffic constable for a 3-year term effective immediately through June 30, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
The subcommittee voted unanimously to confirm the appointment.
Chief?
Southbridge High School graduate, bachelor's degree in criminal justice, retired police officer from Massport, also worked in a couple of neighboring communities, one as a police chief, highly recommended.
Council? Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 19, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Alex Rodriguez as a special traffic constable for a 3-year term effective immediately through June 30, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
Motion was unanimous to confirm Alex Rodriguez.
Chief.
Mr. Chair, retired in January from the state prison system after many years, bilingual, public safety background, extremely well qualified, highly recommend him.
Anyone? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 20, vote to confirm the police chief's recommendation to appoint Lucas Thomas as a special traffic constable for a 3-year term effective immediately through June 30, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
Motion was confirmed at subcommittee unanimous.
Chief.
Southbridge resident, born and raised, currently doing security at our hospital. Much more than that, he worked more than 20 years in the Summer Supermax, SWAT, all their training. He's an excellent, extremely well-qualified candidate. I highly recommend him.
Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the chief. After this appointment, if it's successful, how many members will be special traffic constables, excuse me?
If these are all approved tonight, we'd be at 28. We originally had 33, but what we're doing is we're just not reappointing people that don't work. So we'd be at 28. I'd like to keep it at under 30 and under, just because the needs of the department vary. Summer's coming. We need to have people out there willing to work, and not everybody can work every single day.
Right.
So to answer your question about 28 exactly.
Well, thank you for your work on this and making sure that we have enough officers and constables ready to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 21, vote to approve a police department transfer request for $25,000 from account number 001210-511000, salary, to account number 001-210-515100 sick leave to cover the additional costs of sick leave by officers and dispatchers for the remainder of the fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Steves. Councilor Lazo.
Recommendation was favorable to transfer. Unanimous.
Chief?
Mr. Chair, we have a police officer that was injured off-duty with a long-term injury, probably won't be back for several weeks. We also have a dispatcher out now with a medical issue. Could not have foreseen either one of them. And we've got issues with our sick leave right now, so we're just doing a transfer. I can't predict it. I don't know who's going to get sick, who's going to miss work. We actually had a police officer tell us today that there's an issue in their family, and they're going to be out for an extended period of time. So this is just to cover shifts.
Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the chief. You mentioned that this is becoming an issue, might be an issue for the department. Do you know how many roughly offhand are on sick leave currently?
Out on sick leave at this time?
At this time, and then if you have any anticipation for what might be coming.
Sure. We have 2 that are out now, a third pending. The third one likely won't be that long-term, but the 2 that are out now are going to be for probably several weeks at least.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 22, vote to approve a police department transfer request for $3,200 from account number 001-210-511000 salary to account number 001-210-519300 tuition to cover the cost associated with the tuition for an additional candidate to attend the April Police Academy.
moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
Subcommittee voted unanimously to approve.
Chief?
Mr. Chair, this is tuition for a candidate that we lost to a neighboring community. This is just tuition that we didn't budget for last year. It's for the academy. It's $3,200. This will get us through the rest of the fiscal year in this account.
Does this include the candidates that were approved tonight?
If I could, through you, Mr. Chair, this includes one of the candidates because he's the only one that's going with the academy. Cruz DeRojas. The other 2 candidates were budgeted for, so when the 3 start in April, this will just take care of Mr. DeRojas.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 23, vote to approve a police department transfer request for $5,000 from account number 001-210-518100 witness to account number 001-210-530000 specialized services professional to cover the costs associated with the pending administration of the Civil Service Assessment Center for the promotion of 2 sergeants to the rank of lieutenant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
The vote was unanimous. The subcommittee to approve.
Chief.
Mr. Chair, this is to start the process that we initiated tonight with, as far as the structure of our department. This essentially will pay for the assessment center that will be coming to PPP hopefully next week to make 2 lieutenants.
Very good. Council. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 24, vote to accept the Med Project LLC grant in the amount of $1,300 for the purpose of supporting law enforcement agencies in the collection and disposal of unwanted medicine.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Ryan, second by Councilor Steves. Councilor Lazo.
Motion of subcommittee was unanimous to accept.
Very good. Chief?
Mr. Chair, this is, I believe, our 3rd year getting this grant. This essentially is for anybody in the community that has prescription drugs they want to get rid of. We've got a box in our lobby. This pays the officers to take the box and have it properly disposed of.
Councilors. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilor Lazo.
I'd just like to comment on the chief's performance at subcommittee and tonight. Impeccable. The candidates that were brought forward were totally qualified from end to end. I think it was a good night's work tonight. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Councilor Lazo. Item number 25, vote for town council to waive all permit fees associated with the fire station project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan. Councilor Lazo.
The vote was unanimous to waive the fees to help with the cost of the fire department.
Chief, do you wish to address?
Only if there's any questions, just the fact that things are moving forward with the project. You'll soon be looking at an RFP for the raising of the 129 Worcester Street project and making sure that the fees are waived beforehand obviously changes that RFP, so we want to make sure it's all in line.
Very good. Council? Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. So what fees are we talking about waiving here?
So estimated fees from this point, the architect has carried in the opinion of probable cost an estimate of 1.5% of the hard construction costs as fees and permits. So right now the estimated hard construction is $21,577,443. So 1.5 estimate on that is $323,662. Based on the fee structure for our building inspection department, it lists $9 per thousand for a commercial property for the building permit alone, which is about $194,197. Obviously, there's other things that are case-by-case basis as far as the curb cuts and water connection, sewer connection, electrical permit fees, all of those things based on what fixtures are involved, all of those things. So the rough estimate that we're using is $323,000 is what would be waived.
All right, thank you. I'm good.
Anyone else? Councilor Lazo.
Mr. Chairman, to the chair, I would file a complaint on Mr. Adams for not waiving the rules to put you in front of the agenda, sitting there all alone. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all
It's
present.
always my
Thank
fault.
you.
Thank you, Chief.
I got it wrong.
Item number 26, vote to ratify the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association, MIIA, health and dental insurance renewal for the Blue Cross Blue Shield plans effective July 1st, 2023, and to authorize the town manager to sign all related documents.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Ryan, second by Councilor Steves. Councilor Steves.
That was recommended unanimously with one abstention.
Very good. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 27, vote to ratify the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association, MIAA, health and dental insurance renewal for the Blue Medicare RX effective July 1, 2023, and to authorize the town manager to sign all related documents.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Ryan, second by Councilor Steves. Councilor Steves.
We also recommended that one unanimously. I probably should have said this with the first one, just for clarification. That means the health plans are going up 8.27%. The dental plan is going down 6.3%. And for the retirees, the actual change ends up being a slight increase of 0.46%, but they're also getting an increase in benefits for hearing aids and dental care. So it ends up being a pretty good deal for them.
Very good. Councilor Ryan.
I just want to thank everybody who was involved in this because this is a nice way to give back to our retirees from the town. It's something as simple as dental and hearing aids. It shouldn't be something that they have to fight over, and I'm glad that we actually were able to make sure that they're covered. Southbridge protects its own and supports its own, and this is a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 28, Council's Forum. We'll start over there today. Councilor Now.
All set.
All set? Great. Councilor Steves.
Let's see. Wait a second. Yeah, I think I'm all set too.
You're all set? Very good. Councilor Ryan.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Wow. Councilor Rivas.
I always have something to say, so. Not all set. So I want to thank Margaret Morrissey and Jerry Maldonado from QCC for putting together, coordinating tax preparation services that happened on the 13th at Jacob Edwards Library. There were 18 residents who received free tax preparation services from QCC students. This is a great example of the coordination between different agencies in our community. Professor Eduardo Rivas, no relation, and his students did a great job helping our residents prepare their taxes. And again, it's thanks to the great work of Margaret Morrissey. I also have information on a couple of dates where I will be doing some voter registration with one of our students from the Voices with Councilor Rivas group. We will be at Jacob Edwards Library next Monday from 5:30 to 6:30, registering voters, as well as Saturday, April 8th, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Again, both dates at Jacob Edwards Library. I am also scheduled to do some voter registration at Southbridge High School. I'm looking for those dates now. I have 2 dates in May. Sorry. All right, I can't find the dates, but I'll post those dates where I'll be doing voter registration during lunch periods at the high school for students who will be 18 before our election on June 13th. And then finally, just making sure, reminding everyone to catch our Voices, Youth Voices with Councilor Rivas. Our first show is on cable access channel, and our students have done an amazing job talking about what qualities they're looking for in the next town manager. Please catch that, and we will be coordinating other shows for the next few months. Thank you.
Very good. Councilor Lazo.
I'd just like to bring up, there's a petition being circulated. It's a petition to petition the councilors to put it on the ballot to take our schools back, 508-208-7708. They're circulated all over town. Appreciate the signature. If you want a petition, give me a call. I'll hand deliver it. It's something that I am passionate about. I think we were taken over by what they say was the people wanted it, and now I think the people need to give the state a report card. So I think it's time. On a second note, I just can't help but, as we drop the budget here, been through a lot of tight budgets in the early days, but it's councilor beware. We sat here for a few years, 70% health insurance, working on the trash, new fire department, all the things, add firefighters, cameras. We did a lot of good things, but what's going to come up now is Judgment Day. With the budget coming up, I'm looking forward to working on it. And I said in the beginning when we were doing a lot of these things, when the time comes, it might cost us bodies, depending on what the priorities are. But I think this council can handle it. There's a lot of work ahead. Thank you.
Very good. Councilor Montigny.
Thank you. It's always great to be part of wonderful, positive meetings like tonight. We had a lot of good presentations. But all this talk about history of, the seal and then the American Optical, I've got one for you guys. I mean, why don't we look into the rock of the late, great James Dennison, right? Because at one point, he had stayed there for half a winter, and both the hill and road are named after him. I don't know if it's private property or public property, but we have all these different projects we're doing in rail trails, and even if it's private property, is there something we could do with a signature and maybe just build some stairs to go down there? I mean, I've been there. It's pretty cool to think. I went back looking for some old pictures the other day, and I came across a history book that probably Margaret Morrissey helped digitized, and it was written in like the 1700s by, I think it was by Mr. Plimpton, and I was just reading all about Daniel Fisk and James Dennison, and it's just a part of our history that we don't talk about enough around here, and I mean, I can't speak for Sturbridge, but I never hear about Daniel Fisk either, so I mean, I think people like that, the earliest of settlers, should be honored if we can find a way to do that. So thank you very much.
Very good, Council Marquetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. As I said earlier, we will be having a DPW meeting this week. And I'm sorry, Charlie, I couldn't really hear you when you were making your announcements. I know that you mentioned that there are some constructions that is going to be starting pretty soon. I don't know if you said this week or a couple
I
weeks.
believe West Street was going to start, I believe, today.
Okay. So some of the things that we want to talk about is, we are starting over, I guess, with a DPW director. I'd like to know what's going on with that. We did have a construction inspector, and that was put on hold. We have a lot of road work that should be starting. Construction is starting now. So I'd like to know what's going on with that. We did have a program started a couple years ago. First year it really went really well. Last year something happened and it just kind of got put on hold. So I'd like to make sure that we get started on that again this year, or hearing you talk about what the plan is going forward.
Okay.
So that meeting will be this Wednesday. I don't know if you can make it, but maybe you could send your assistant down to talk to us. The other thing is we are going to have one more meeting of curbside garbage collection where we are probably going to make our final recommendation. That'll be next week on April 6th. And then I will be bringing that forward to the town council on April 10th. I don't know if you can make a vote that night, but if you're going to have a vote on it, we may have to have a special meeting for that because I'm not going to be here for the 24th. So just to let you know that ahead of time, that we will be making a recommendation. I have reached out to several different groups. I spoke to the seniors. I spoke to the Latino group. I spoke at the Southbridge Downtown Partnership, and I have reached out to several different groups in town, a couple of the churches. There is a landlords association, so I've done all I can to get the word out, and we are about ready to make our final recommendation. I look forward to seeing the final RFPs, and then we'll have the council take a look at it on the 10th. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman?
Council Ryan.
Briefly, I just want to thank Councilor Marquetti for his leadership on this. I've gotten a lot of calls about the workshops you've been doing and really presenting this to the people. I thank you for being such an active participant and really making sure the public understands what choices they have and what we need to do as a town going forward. So I appreciate all the work you put into this. You've been doing it for years, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very good. Vice Chair Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to wish the Wells Apartments best of luck on their attempt to win I believe it's the 2023 Affordable Housing Finance Reader's Choice Award. They put in for it this year, and I think they've done an outstanding job taking that old school that's just sat there for such a long time and turned into something very viable for our town. And I do wish, even with all the naysayers that were out there, so I really wish them the best, and their management team is top-notch. I want to congratulate the police officers again, and I want to thank the police department and all those that supported those individuals to come up here and get promoted and to get appointed for their academies. And it's a great concept when you see people from those departments being able to back up their own people and wish them the best of luck. The ARPA committee will be meeting on the 6th of April. Right now we have between $700,000 to $800,000. There's $1.2 million that have been requested, and I have a couple more coming. So there's going to try to share the wealth a little bit as best we can that night and up to the town council. And then the town manager search committee has a meeting on Thursday, and we will be voting on the firm to move forward starting April 1st for the town manager search firm. So we hope all that goes well as they move forward. The next meeting, agenda item number 29, discussion of next meeting, which is April 10th, 2023 at 7 PM here in Dias. So,
Very good. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lazo, second by Councilor Ryan to adjourn. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Unanimous of all present. We are adjourned.
what a concept.